Hello friends, this is Worm, and today I wanted to talk about the Crucible, and more specifically Checkmates, or I guess some ideas that I had for Checkmate. I was laying in bed last night, just kind of pondering Finality and all that, and I started thinking about the Crucible. And I started thinking about Checkmate, and it's no secret, we've said multiple times on the channel before, that Checkmate, while it is good in a lot of aspects, it still has a lot of work that Bungie needs to do on it. And this is not a video talking about what's wrong with Checkmate and stuff. This is more of an ideas video for some things that I had ideas for that follow the guideline of Checkmate, I guess, but aren't Checkmate, right? Like we're not gonna sit here and say, oh well, Checkmate should this, and this. These are kind of, I guess, some independent modes, if you want to call it that I had the idea of while laying in bed last night, and I just wanted your opinions on how you think that they would work out. So as you think of things that we're talking about, just go down there and put them in the comments. But Checkmate, of course, is a mode where Bungie, where players are encouraged to have more gunfights, right? And that's a lot of fun because in Destiny 2, of course, gunfights are a blast. You know, it's not fun to constantly be getting, grenaded and meleeed and, shotgun rushed and stuff like that. And Checkmate is kind of Bungie's answer to all of those issues that players have. Your abilities are on a slower cooldown. Guardian health is increased. So TTKs across the board are increased. What else? Special ammo is limited to your performance. So if you're performing well, you get special ammo, but you can't just pick it up after every single kill. You'll get like 3 or 4 ammo for whatever weapon you're using after a couple of kills, stuff like that. It slows down the pace of the game so that there are more primary gunfights. And of course, Checkmate has its problems. We're not, I don't know if I said this already, but we're not going to go over Checkmate's problems, right? Like, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about some ideas that I had for the mode. So with that being said, we obviously want to encourage more gunfights, right? So my initial thought is, hey, the current sandbox meta that we're in, to me, feels like one of the healthiest sandbox metas we've had almost ever in Destiny. Like, any given game that I hop into, whether it's 6v6, right? Any game that I hop into, I'm bound to see pulse rifles, hand cannons, submachine guns, auto rifles, sidearms, shotguns, fusion rifles, snipers. Like, everything feels like it's being used, with the exception of maybe scout rifles. But scout rifles, currently there's not a whole lot of maps that cater well to scout rifles, but on long range maps, guess what? Scout rifles come into play, right? So we see a healthy variety of weapons in standard Crucible. Then you go over to Checkmate, and that is substantially like shrunk down, right? You've got hand cannons. There's a couple of different archetypes of weapons, but hand cannons seem to be the most reliable and the fastest killing archetype of weapon or 140 hand cannons, I should say, of weapon within Checkmate. And that's one of the issues that I have with Checkmate. So I thought, hey, what if we just took all the game rules for Checkmate, the special ammo spawns, the ability cooldown timer, and put it with the standard Crucible TTK and meta, right? So basically just leave Guardian health and weapon damage as it is, reduce ability cooldown, have special ammo tied to the transmat feature that's in Checkmate. And I think that could potentially be a really fun thing to do. I would like to see Bungie add that to Crucible labs. That way players, weren't forced to play it, but if you wanted to go check it out, you could, because that's something I would be deeply interested in, for lack of better terms. Sorry. I would like to see how it would play with, your weapons, your sidearms, your SMGs, being very good in their close quarters areas, your hand cannons, everything like that. But it, with the slower ability cooldown, with transmat, like, you're not going to be getting shotgun rush, you're not going to be getting, fusion vooped, not going to be getting, sniped. I do a lot of sniping, and I like to think I'm pretty good at it. You're not going to be having those happen very often. Now, that's my first idea. I mean, it's nothing fancy by any means. It's not like, oh, like, wow, like, this is a game changer, anything like that. It just, the way I look at it, the current sandbox meta in standard Crucible is really, really good. I really, really enjoy it. I think it's healthy because there's all kinds of different weapons being used. There's different subclasses being used. It's really a solid place to be. But moving on from there, I wanted to talk about a little bit more of a crazy idea. And this one, honestly, I have no idea how it would work in game. I think there's a lot of people that would love it, a lot of people that would hate it, a lot of people that would probably just compare it to other games. But the principle behind this game mode, which in my opinion, it's not Checkmate related at all. Like forget what you know about Checkmate and whatnot. For this game mode, let's just talk about what it is. Basically, what if Bungie added a game mode to Destiny 2 where all players have their stats, their 6 core stats normalized, right? So everybody you run into, whether it's Hunter, Titan, or Warlock, has the same resilience, has the same mobility, has the same recovery, discipline, intellect, strength. Like all these stats are completely normalized across the board. Take out the element of build crafting. And I know there's somebody already in the comments going, no, that wouldn't be a good idea, blah, blah, blah. But hear me out, because like I said, Checkmate is not going to be a featured mode. This, I don't think should be a featured mode, but it would be a neat idea. Everybody is normalized across the board. That way, if you shoot somebody and, let's say the resilience is tier 5, right? Resilience is tier 5 across the board. You know that X weapon is going to kill in X number of shots. You know that if you don't kill somebody, they're going to be healing in X amount of time. Like everything is normalized so that there's nobody that can say, oh, well, that's not fair. He has high recovery or high discipline, blah, 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 like intellect, blah, blah, blah. Because I hear it in trials all the time. People complaining about other people who have high intellect. Like, yeah, that's kind of part of it. But what if Bungie did away with all those stats? But not only that, they increased the cooldown of like grenades and melees, and not just like, I want to say, what is Checkmate currently? I think it's 20%, maybe 25%. I don't exactly remember, but instead of just like the 20 or 25%, give it a hefty cooldown nerf, like 60 to 70% slower cooldown. But on the flip side of it, grenades and melees now deal much more damage and are much more impactful to gameplay. One of the issues that I have with Destiny and its ability gameplay, to me personally, abilities don't feel all that impactful, right? Like you have some, like the healing grenade, that's like, okay, like healing grenade, it can pull you out of a pinch. There's a couple grenades where every now and then they work, but imagine if every grenade or melee that you used like held a ton of value. Not to the point of like a super, right? We don't want to throw a vortex grenade and basically have a Nova bomb go off or anything like that. But imagine, you have a vortex grenade and enemies capping B and you toss it over on B. Not only do they now have to get off the flag, right? But anybody who's even remotely caught in it for too long is dead. And the people who it hit and tagged are now critically injured, right? So then you can go in there and clean them up. Now, I know, oh, but Worm, that sounds like it'd be awful because all people would be using would be weapons and armor and stuff like that. Or all people would be doing is dying to abilities. I'm sorry, my wife was trying to call me and I lost my train of thought here. But people would be like, okay, well that doesn't seem right because like all you're gonna have is grenade spam, blah blah blah. But again, balance this out by reducing grenade cooldowns, right? Like, yeah, I threw a grenade, but man, I feel good about that grenade because it got me a double kill and it kept them off the flag and it did all this stuff. And yeah, I won't get another one for like another 2.5 minutes or something like that, but it's impactful. Same thing with melee abilities, like, hey, like Strand Hunter, I throw my whatever the melee is called, I can't remember. I throw that rope dart and it goes and it hits a couple of targets and it comes back to me. Like, yes, I can still catch it and get some energy back, but at the same time, now those players are severed, and severed now, it has more of an impact. And that's actually where we're going to go next with this is, normalizing grenades all across the board, or normalizing discipline all across the board, still doesn't fix the issue of the grenade cooldowns, right? Because a firebolt grenade has a faster cooldown than a lightning grenade or a glacier grenade. What if all grenade cooldowns were equalized across the board? Right, so a firebolt took just as long as a glacier grenade. A flashbang took just as long as a scatter grenade. Like, insert whatever. But Bungie buffed the weaker or faster cooldown ones, like Fireball Grenades, got a big buff, and then maybe some of those long tier cooldown ones, like, you know, Lightning Grenades, got a small nerf, right? That way, you know, whether you're gonna use a healing grenade to heal you and your allies, that's going to feel just as impactful on gameplay as, you know, throwing a lightning grenade or a storm grenade at a flag when somebody's capping it, or, you know, throwing a void wall grenade right through a doorway that prevents people from coming through. Because now, yeah, they can still run through it without dying, but instead of just barely tickling them for like, what is it, like 30 points or something like that, it now substantially injures them. It really puts a block down. And I think that if Bungie were to do a game mode like this, it would definitely be a slow playing game mode. Like, mind you, like, this is not some action, you know, fast-paced, action-packed thriller game mode. Like, this would definitely be a slower, more methodical game. But I think that the players out there that enjoy checkmates could potentially find enjoyment in this. Like, I would like to see how something like this would play out. This is why we have Crucible labs. Everybody is exactly the same, with the exception of course, subclass jumps and class abilities. And that's another thing, like when it comes to class abilities, you know, make the hunter dodge more impactful. I don't know how they could do it. I'd leave that up to Bungie, but give it a longer cooldown. But now when you dodge, it does something more, right? You know, when you throw your rift down, rift down as a warlock, it does, you know, something powerful. It has a point. So every single ability that you go out and use now serves a great purpose, right? Anyways, I don't know, that's just some crazy ideas I had for the Crucible. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think they'd play well? Like I said, I don't know how they'd play, right? I don't even know if I would enjoy playing this game. And like, I think there's positives to it, there's negatives to it, but I would like to see something just way out there like this. Like, it's not Destiny 2, and that's what I think would make it so interesting. Is it's not Destiny 2. Like, this is not what we're used to. You know, in Destiny, Titans have high resilience, you know, Hunters have high mobility, Warlocks have high recovery, you know, the stats that you want to focus on are this, and this. But in this game mode, it doesn't matter what your stats are. It's all normalized. And you are the same as everybody else, with the exception of your subclass. And I think that's one of the issues that would arise with this is you would probably have people lean heavily into getting abilities back, you know, demolitionist weapons, you know, pugilist weapons, stuff like that, to help get their abilities back much quicker. But I don't know, you know, I think that's going to happen anyways. Like, if you have somebody that likes ability spam, they're going to use ability spam perks and weapons and stuff like that. Pardon me. Sorry guys. But yeah, in terms of supers also, I think, you know, all supers again normalized across the board. That way when you get your super, and then, you know what, have a mad minute, right? A mad minute where everybody supercharges the exact same rate. Kills don't supercharge it. You know, the super is a minute and 30-second cooldown. Then in a minute and 30 seconds, everybody has their super. You can use it whenever you want. You can, you know, if you got a roaming super, you can use it instantly to go do whatever. If you have a, you know, a one-off super, you can use it to counter roaming supers. If you have a defensive super, you can use it to cap flag. Like, everybody gets it at the same time. And then as soon as you use it and it's over, then it starts charging another one. And it equalizes these. So, you know, if you have a bubble and you put it down, you're not getting a bubble a little bit faster than somebody who uses a roaming super and has to roam around before it runs out. Like, normalize everything. I don't know. It'd be a wild idea. I don't know how it would play out in Destiny. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know. But that's why I make these videos, because I want to hear your thoughts on my ideas. With that being said, that's the end of this video. Do me a favor, like the video, helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, and do me a favor, watch these videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I will see y'all next time. Bye for now.